All right, we're recording, and that's great because I want to send out the recording tomorrow. And if you have any questions, we will have a Q&A at the end, but if you have some burning question that you want to ask throughout the presentation, pop it in the chat box, like Donna's been doing here, talking about the cold weather, and I'll try to answer it. I'll get to it, and we'll make sure that we get through all the questions. I don't want to leave anyone behind in terms of answering questions. I never do that. So once we get through the presentation and you want to do the Q&A at the end, we'll make sure we stay here until everyone has gotten their questions answered. So of course, I am Colin Martin, and you can see there I'm the strapping young lad there standing next to my fancy Jaguar there. And I'm with my girlfriend, Vicki, who's always been sitting here for the last 3 years at all these webinars. We always sit side by side on the couch, snuggled like bugs, and that's kind of romantic, and I do like that. Again, if you have any questions, you can pop them into the chat box, or we'll have a Q&A at the end, live Q&A. So we're talking about tonight ultimate email marketing strategies, and I'll really get passionate tonight. So, strap in. It's going to get a little bumpy because email marketing is everything. List building and email marketing, if anyone knows me, and I'm sure most of you do by now, that I'm very, very passionate about that. And I'll show you exactly why and just how easy all this stuff really is to accomplish. And simply building a list is so important because people come to your website if they don't opt in for something and that you don't collect their email address. They'll leave and they'll never be back, and you've missed an opportunity. I'm pretty familiar with how much effort and time it takes to get website traffic anyway to your site, so why lose those opportunities? And I think you're aware of it too. So email marketing strategies, build a community of raving fans. That's the one thing that we really want to talk about, with open rates from your newsletters as high as 45%. And I'll actually show my real numbers tonight about that and how you can increase your open rates in case they're not working for you. Who am I? Well, obviously you probably know me. My name is Colin Martin. Of course, I'm Tom Antion's former marketing manager, and I was there for 7 years. And I learned a lot from him and worked with over 1,400 of Tom's mentees, and we had a great time. I'm also the former head instructor of the Internet Marketing Training Center of Virginia. So I'm totally unqualified to talk to you tonight about email marketing, but you'll probably bear with me only because I'm cute and funny, which I'm sure will prove throughout the webinar. So yes, I taught a lot of people internet marketing. So rest assured, you'll really learn a lot about email marketing tonight. And I'm sharing with you a lot of my secrets. So I own 12 different online businesses. I have 3 group coaching classes. The Dream Alliance is one I just mentioned, but I actually have 2 more working with Tom and another partner of mine, which hasn't even launched yet. I've got continuous educational webinars, such as this one you're on tonight, and I teach copywriting conversion to a large clientele, and I have about 9,000 people in my email community. And they're not just people in my email list. I don't look at them as a list. I look at them as a community of people who get together and they want to learn from each other and try to better their business. And of course, they're fans and followers, and you can do the same thing and build a list like that of people who really love you. Here's some people that really love me. What are they saying out there? You can see Julia is always been a great fan of mine. Loves all my webinars and has seen a difference in her the response to her material since implementing my advice. Great words from Tom Justin, a big-time NSA speaker there. Linda, these are just a small bit of the testimonials of love that I get. I don't have people just tell me how awesome the training is. They just send me simple emails, usually 3 words that say, I love you. And then that's all they have to say. And I'm like, I agree with that. I can see why you love me. And tonight, you may feel the same way by the time we end up with all this training. So we're talking about email programs and we're talking about email marketing. I am going to focus on certain programs and the things that they can do. And keep in mind when I'm going through this here, if your email program is missing any of these elements, then make a mental note to yourself and say, am I using the right tools? Because I learned a long time ago from Tom that the right tools give you the freedom, creativity, and the power to market properly. And some tools, some programs, some services, software, whatever you're using out there, including shopping carts and anything like that, some are better than others. And I've tried them all, and I've worked with people, other people who have tried them all, and where I had to try to fix things. So I have a lot of experience in trying to kind of weed out the junk out there. So just keep that in mind as we go through here. But we'll be talking about different email tools. What is an email program? Well, email, obviously, you know what it is. It's newsletters, ads, promotions, all the stuff that comes to your email box. Now, obviously, they don't just appear there unless you've been spammed, which happens quite often. But each of those are created in some kind of email program that somebody sends out that probably you signed up for at one point, or someone sold your address, which is a whole other thing altogether. But an email program simply has two steps. It collects an email address called an opt-in, and then it creates newsletter or autoresponders, which are just text or visual-based newsletters or messages that you send to people. So this is your way of collecting a community, and list building is very important because you are able to market to people over and over and over. So just like your personal email, a professional email program has the ability to create templates and designs and send to thousands of people in one click, as opposed to just like your Gmail account where you can pick maybe a couple dozen or something like that. These are stronger programs with higher deliverability. They can be automated, which is called an autoresponder. That can be a single message that goes out to thousands of people in a series after they purchase or sign up for something, with times and frequency set by you. So it can actually trigger a series of automated messages, and I'll show you that tonight too. Email programs can create what's called an opt-in or an email address capture. You've seen it a bunch of times. You probably signed up for things like this. When you do that, you can build, and when you offer an opt-in, you can build a large and profitable community for you to be able to market to over and over and over. Now, you may have seen some email programs. There's some big names out there, obviously. Typical email programs, you may be familiar with Constant Contact. They got the commercials. Aweber is very popular. One Shopping Cart, used that for a long time. Tom uses that. Auto Office Pilot, I've used that. Vertical Response, I've worked with that. I've also trained myself in Aweber. I've used almost every one of these working with clients because they come to me with these programs already in place, and then which forces me to have to go in and actually learn how to do it, which is fine with me. And Infusionsoft is great. It's very expensive. It's about $200 or $300 a month, but it's also a shopping cart and marketing system and email all in one and autoresponders. And then there's GetResponse, which is what I'm using now. So a lot of the examples with the email marketing techniques I'm going to show you tonight are done with GetResponse. And you'll see some inside workings of that particular program. So why is email or email lists so important? And remember, we'll have a live Q&A at the end, but if you have any questions at all that are burning and you can't wait till the end, pop them into the chat box and I'll be happy to answer them for you. Email list is gold. Tom told me that a long time ago. Tom Antion said your email list is gold, plus a lot of other marketers told me that as well. Why? Because here's a fact, and I want you to think about this for a minute. Selling from a website store, which is something you typically put up or somebody tells you to put up, oh, get this store, put your products on your site, product pages, banners, things like this, Facebook ads, all of that is very low converting. Very few people buy from a website or any kind of promotion from a website or a store. So visitors may come into a website and they may read some of the content, they might look around, and of course, if they don't buy anything and you don't have a way to capture their email, they're going to disappear. And they're not going to be back. They found it during a search, or they found it from a link, or somebody shared a link. They're not coming back. So you just wasted a lot of time and energy getting someone to your website. And if you ever check your analytics and see, well, I only got like 1,000 people on my website, you'll realize how precious that traffic is and how much you could have converted it. But when people sign up to your email list, you can market to them over and over again, year after year. Literally, I've had people on my list now for 6 years that buy nearly everything that I ever recommend, because I have the time here to build a brand awareness with them and to communicate with them and educate them and entertain them and build a rapport with them that you can't do with a website when someone's on there for a minute and a half. You can't do that. So it's, in my estimation, in the way, from my perspective, I think that a website's sole purpose is to build a community that you can build a rapport and communicate with for the long term. So you have to capture that website visitor's email address with an opt-in or email program. So you can educate them. You can invite them to webinars like I did tonight. They can be live or virtual events. They can be group coaching programs. You can sell them products, give them away freebies, promotions, whatever you want to do. The sky's the limit with what you want to do with your community. And the more you do with them, the more they're going to appreciate it. We often have newsletters. Let's talk about, should we even have a newsletter template? So we're talking about newsletters. We're going to get right into that. And what is a newsletter? It's just something that you send out, that you communicate with your community. And to be honest with you, people don't send out enough newsletters. They're scared of bothering people. But research has shown that the biggest mistake that people make is not emailing enough, because people, their inboxes are inundated with stuff constantly every day. And if you're not keeping your brand top of mind, then people will forget about your business and they will forget to open the emails, and they just won't. And I'm going to show you tips tonight to get huge open rates and to get people interested in buying your products. Template is part of that. Now, you've often seen some newsletters or email messages that are just text-based, and often there'll be a template. I like templates, and I make them for my clients every so often when they ask me to. And you can use brand colors. You can use images that all kind of represent your brand and almost look like a tiny piece of your website. You can also insert templates that have, or images in the templates, that when you click on the image, it actually takes people back to the website. Your newsletter main purpose, there's two main purposes. One is to educate, and one is to drive traffic back to your website. You really want to get people back to your website. Your website is a great place to keep building your brand and to offer things for sale. Even though they may not buy something the first time they come to your website, they'll buy things after they visited your website a number of times, called touches in the retail marketing. We touch or have a marketing message about 7 times on average to get someone to actually make a purchase. And a newsletter, however creative way, a link or a picture or something to get them back to your website, is something how you can market your products and services. Now, research has shown that a template really is no more effective than just plain text in an email. So it's a personal choice. And I like templates, but if you know me, you see that most of my emails are plain text. There is no rhyme or reason for that. It's personal choice. And a lot of people like the templates because it builds their brand and it's very colorful. But in terms of people clicking and buying and promotions and opening up your newsletters, the template doesn't play that huge a part. But I really like them anyway. So there's a few templates that I really like. And you can see here, this blue one on the left is Ask Dr. Dorothy. And I created that this is a client of mine, and I personally created that inside GetResponse. And that's the header from her site. And those are pictures of her products in that column. When you click on them, it goes to her sales letter where you purchase. There's little testimonials that I've added, clickable sections of text. She writes the copy, and we just pop it in. And what's really cool is down at the bottom, you can see there's share buttons, just like on a website. So people can actually share this email with their friends, which increases your list building in your community. It's very cool. And then, of course, over on the right, Lisa Sasevich has always had really beautiful templates, and I just absolutely love those. And all this is there to create subtle branding messages with their community that helps advertise their products and services. There's clickable links in both of these that send people back to the website, even to sell products. So there's many opportunities to market in different ways with a template like this, other than just writing some content. Now, often I'll see newsletters that have great content, but they're not doing anything. They're not driving people back. There's no clickable links. Most of the clients I help, like Dorothy there, her first newsletters were just these simple, basic things that she'd written, like out of her blog post. There was no formatting. There was no header. There was no template. There was nothing. There wasn't even a clickable link. So she was just sending information that was beneficial to the reader, but she wasn't getting anything in return. No clicks, no promotions, no sales. So I designed that specifically to help her reach new goals. So template is something that you want to consider. Let me show you some secrets of a powerful newsletter. My newsletters I'm really proud of. People really love them, and the open rates are very high. And it isn't just because of any one thing in particular. There's a number of factors here that play a part. So I want to share with you right now some number one email strategy here is getting people to open up your newsletter. It's not about tricking them to open it up. They want to open it up. It's something that is sent out that they specifically want to read. So it's permission-based, and they're making the choice to read, and that's what you want. You want your community to love your newsletters. Well, first off, you want to keep them short and to the point. Too long of a newsletter takes too much time to read, and you're disrespecting the time that your client has in their day. So the more that you work around and respect that time and get to the point very quickly, that makes them want to read it. If they realize every newsletter is going to be too long, they'll stop opening. You also want to focus on their problems, not your business. So you can brand with a template, but the content needs to be about solving different problems that you know your community has. So you want to identify those problems, and you want to offer real solutions without teasers and without being overly salesy. Let the content and offering to help people be its own promotion. You also have to have interesting subject lines. People, they get curious about subject lines, and that's a whole another art in itself, is creating subject lines that people want to open. They can be entertaining, they can be kind of mysterious, but whatever you do, they need to be opened. And without people opening your newsletter, no one's ever going to read it. I really believe that a newsletter should be sent out every week, at least every 2 weeks. Any less than that, your brand starts to suffer and loses almost like search result status inside an email program. They'll see it, but they'll forget to open it. If the subject line is boring, they won't be enticed to open it. If they just think, you know what, I'll read that later, they won't. So really, they want to be excited. There's newsletters I get that I can't wait to get. And I like getting them, not every day, of course, but at least once a week. Always reminds me about what that business is, and I do want to open them. And of course, they should have links in it, like I just discussed, to different kinds of resources, not just always something for sale, but different other freebies, training materials, video series, invitations to webinars and teleclasses. Each newsletter that you put out should have some kind of specific conversion that you decide up front. Hey, this is why I'm putting it out, and this is what I want it to do. So think about that. Also, you want to take the reader step by step through a different process. And I like newsletters to have different parts to them. So one week I'll send one out that will move your reader through the problem that they're having from step A to B. Then the next one will be from B to C. In each step, you're moving and giving advice and training that moves them over this huge mountain of a problem that they're having. And I call those base camps. So you don't want to give away everything so that you weigh people down and overwhelm them. And you don't want to give them nothing that ever moves them from point A to B. You want to just give enough that they're getting results, and the next week that you offer something else that gets another result. A base camp is, in mountain climbing terms, a place where they can get to, a destination they can reach with the backpack and the tools that they're provided by you. And each base camp, they get to rest, and then they get to move the next day to the next one until they have made it over the mountain. So you can't weigh people down, and you can't just tease people into like buying the answers. You really need to help them. In that regard, I call those goodwill emails and goodwill newsletters, where you're really helping people. Goodwill doesn't mean you're just giving away a bunch of gifts, but you are helping people solve a problem. And you can do that by offering free gifts, but really anything you have, just straight content, any kind of training, the video that you want to show, any of that stuff creates goodwill. When you create goodwill, you're actually banking it. So the time comes that you really want to have an email promotion. people are more receptive and less resistant to buying something if they know that you've really helped them, mainly because they know your stuff works. And now it's time to invest. They'll take you up on it. So those are really what newsletters are all about. They're not just something that informs them about you. Take the focus off of you and make it on to them. To get people onto your newsletter, you have to have an opt-in form. So an opt-in form is the second part of the strategy, and building a list is a little bit harder than you think. Just putting something up that is like, hey, get a free report or another sign up for my newsletter. You know, that's what you're doing, but you don't really want to tell people that. You really want to offer some kind of powerful freebie. And the freebie is something that truly answers their problems, solves their problems, shows them that you know what you're talking about, that your training or your expertise actually works, and that you care. So to build a profitable community of raving fans, you have to get website visitors to sign up to your form that is created in the email program. And from here on through the webinar, it's called, I'll refer to that as opting in. So people's inboxes are already full of so much junk that they're never going to read. So to get them to sign up, they really don't want to sign up. So they have to be absolutely enticed to opt in to get another newsletter, because there's 20 of them they get every day that they don't read. So you have to make what's called the irresistible offer. It's educational and really helps get to and solve their problems and gets to the point of why they're even on your website at all. So if they came to your website searching for information and they're looking for an answer to something that's critical to them, then your freebie needs to be that exact tool that needs to reflect exactly what they were looking for, not something nebulous or fluffy like get on my newsletter or join my community. That's just telling them they're not really going to get anything but a bunch of emails. It should be a real solution to a real problem, not empty promises. So in creating a perfect opt-in form, you want to create what are called magnets. Magnets are pieces of copy, little copy techniques that offer a specific promise to solve a problem. Obviously, I'm into internet marketing, help people make money online, so I create what are called making money magnets. So if you can talk about how to build wealth, how to sell more products, how to build a community of raving fans that will buy everything that you have, that kind of language is a magnet to the people that are on your website. It might be health related. It might be living a healthier or longer life. It may be time magnet, which is done for you or learning to do something faster or more efficient. It may be just a prestige magnet, which would be fitting in, feeling better, finding the perfect soulmate, looking better, feeling more confident. All those kinds of things, you have to find out what it is that your target market or your website visitor is looking for and build a language in the opt-in that is magnetizing to them. You also have to offer a freebie that is irresistible. You want to offer something that could stand alone as its own product, whether it be an ebook, a video series, an audio download, an MP3, anything that is easy to download and basically free for you to deliver, but could actually stand alone and make it special. Make it special like you do all your other products. And don't just offer them something that doesn't seem exciting or really won't offer any real solutions to their problems, because you realize that giving away something very valuable has legs to it. So if they're reading an ebook or watching a video series or something like that, there are promotions inside those freebies that help build your brand and drive traffic back to the website. So you can make money by giving away free stuff, but you have to get someone to sign up for it. While I'm talking about that, there's something you may or may not be aware of, but it's called double opt-in. And what that is, and here's another technique, technique number 3 I want to share with you, is turning off a double opt-in, or what's called a confirmation email. So you've probably seen this, or you might be doing this. You sign up for an email, or you sign up into an email form to get this special ebook. And then all of a sudden a page pops up and it says, go into your inbox and confirm your email, and then you'll get your freebie. Well, there isn't any successful marketer out there that I know of, including Tom, Lisa Sasevich, Brendan Bouchard, Frank Kern, myself, anyone else, that doesn't give you the product immediately. We turn what's called double opt-in off. And there'll be a lot of people out there that will tell you, well, you shouldn't do that, or it's against the rules or something like that, but don't listen to that. That's just people that don't want you to succeed. You want to turn off the double opt-in and the confirmation, because literally you're going to lose 30% of the people that opt in from a form on your site. If they have to go in and confirm their email, they won't. And this has been proven over and over and over. Okay. I've been doing this a long time, and I think of the people that I lost when I used to do this. So we turn double opt-in off. All big marketers do it. We want you to get the product and download it. Right after you hit the submit button, a page comes up and says, thank you for signing up. Here's your freebie. And while you're at it, while you're looking at that, here's some other stuff that you might be interested in, and you can promote other products. The confirmation email, the problem with that is that it gets in, it ends up in spam filters. And I know, and Donna's reminding me of it right now, in Canada, they can't do that. They do have the anti-spam legislation that doesn't make it an option. So there are other ways to go in and change that. Typically for my U.S. friends here, we do want to do that for as long as we can. In Canada, there are ways, if you have a decent email program, to make the confirmation and customize your confirmation email. So they do actually find the email to confirm it. It isn't just the standard default one that gets sent out. You can customize it and actually put links in it and things that you want to say. So you can take a step towards getting around the anti-spam legislation. But thank you for reminding me about that, Donna. And this is in GetResponse. Aweber's got it. In most of the programs, you can turn the confirmation off. So if you can do that, do that. That's a technique that a lot of people don't do. And I'm usually tell all my clients or have to go in and turn it off for them. What does an opt-in form look like? A good one will have bright colors, easy to read stuff, and all sorts of things that are good for higher conversion. You can see all these were made in GetResponse, which is what I use. The first two are ones on my websites. And then, of course, you can see the third one over there in black I made for somebody else. You can actually put a video inside there and play it. It's very cool. But you see there's pictures of products. These are ebooks, and ebooks don't really have covers like a real book, like in a bookstore, but you make one. So I make them look like a cover, and it looks like they're getting something. But these are just PDF. I guess you call them special reports, but they're actually real ebooks that are really cool. That Stealth Persuasion one's 166 pages. Okay, that's not anything to sneeze at. That's a hell of a freebie there. So, and then of course you want to put in bright buttons. You want your opt-in to have colors that are not part of the website, so they actually stand out visually. So these are just different kinds of things that I've created, and you can use that as a template, the little bullet points, how you can change the submit button to not say submit, which is really derogatory. Usually you want to say something positive like I want it, or yes, give it to me, or something like that. So that's creating an opt-in form means being visually creative. Fourth big trick here is list segmentation. Now, a lot of us in our email programs, we have just one big list, and everyone who opts in just goes to one big list. But what I like to do, and this is a trick that very few people do, except a lot of the big people, and they don't really tell you this, is that you can segment your list and create different campaigns and different lists and send people from different opt-ins that are maybe specific to a particular topic right onto a special list. Now, you can email all lists combined your newsletter, but you can also send your own specific newsletter and autoresponders just for that one list. So you can micro market the message that you're sending to people, because not all of your products are going to fit everyone. You may have different products, and there may be some of your website visitors may want one kind of product over another. Some people have multiple businesses, like Tom Antionda has internet marketing, he has the Scam Busters, he has the dog training thing, and he's got public speaking. So, but they're all in one email program, managed by one email program, but the lists are segmented. So obviously those people don't want to get mixed marketing messages. So multiple opt-in forms, you can sign up people from anywhere, YouTube and social media and email promotions, banners, whatever you want to do, Kindle books, whatever you want to do. But a lot of those would be better suited if they were going to their own special list. That list can trigger their own series of autoresponders with specific messages just for people interested in certain things, which immediately and more powerfully raises conversion and makes more sales. So sending a giant message out to everyone about a product that not everyone is totally interested in will lower your conversion, and it may be why you're not making quite as much money. And you can I even send out if I have the time, a customized newsletter just to people on a certain list. Now, take a look at this. This is inside my Get Response campaign, and this is just a small screenshot of just some of the campaigns or separate lists that I have. And you can see that there's different numbers. Those are different people or the amounts of people that are in certain things. So every kind of webinar and every kind of special promotion has their own list that triggers out their autoresponders. Now, a lot of this is repeated over. Some of the people in one are part of another, but I'm able to pick and choose in Get Response by checking the boxes. You can see some of the boxes are checked and send those just to those people a special newsletter. Or I can just click one that checks all of them at one time, like a check all button. And then I can send out, and I can send out just to one or all of them or any choice or any combination. And that raises conversion. So very simply, that's list segmentation. And if your email program doesn't do that, then that's something that you want to jot down and say, that's something that I need. Let's talk about open rates, because that's what I got everybody here for. Open rates can be really abysmal sometimes, and they can be disappointing. And there's a lot of factors about open rates. The big one is that you may not even be sending out enough newsletters, what I call list stagnation. So if you send out a newsletter about once every 3 months, your list is dead. They don't even know who you are anymore. They don't know why they're on it. And of course, they're not going to open anything. And then when you see that you have a 2% open rate, you're disappointed. But again, whose fault was it? I see clients that come to me all the time and they say, well, I don't really send out any newsletters. I send out one every 2 months. And I'm like, you know what? Your list is dead. Once your list is dead or stagnant, you can't bring it back to life because people do not care. You have to start all over again. You could literally have thousands of people on there and you blew it. Don't let that happen. And open rates, the biggest factor is you're not sending out enough emails. So obviously, if you want to get your newsletters read and your promotions read and make money from email marketing, you got to get them to open it. So the open rate is simply the percentage of your list that you send out that actually opens it. There's another rate called the click-through rate, and that's the people who opened it and the percentage of people who clicked on the link that is inside. And you're able to track and report all of this with a good email program. And you want to be able to see these rates going up so that you can measure success. There's industry standards that people have tested out there, open rates that are basically average. So what do you think your open rate typically is? You may have one and it may be good, it may be bad, but here's the industry standard. Oops, Jesus. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry about that. Open rates. Here we go. Sorry about that. Jumped all the way to the end. This is from Netcraft, which is a very prestigious internet marketing reporting agency. Here is the open rates for different industries, and they think this is good. Well, I don't know if they're good or not, but they're the average. Consulting, that's what I do, 18%. With a click-through rate, only 2% of the people click on the link that opened it up. And look at some of these other ones. E-commerce, 17%. Legal, 21%. Marketing and advertising, 18%. It seems like all the internet marketing kind of stuff, or marketing or consulting is rather low. There's creative services, there's education and training. Well, that's higher, 22%, because people actually get something out of education. Most marketing and consulting stuff is just kind of salesy and turns a lot of people off. Manufacturing, that's important. What's amazing here is daily deals and e-coupons, 13%. That's really bad with the 1% click rate. So if you're into daily deals or trying to save people money, which I actually thought was like really big, obviously it's not. I don't think anybody cares about it. So that's interesting. But these are the industry standards. This is what Netcraft is saying with the industry standards. So think about your open rate if you're even able to measure it. And if you can't, you have to find a program that will. So there's 3 big things that will increase the open rate. I talked about emailing a lot, but here's the 3 big ones. Creative and an interesting subject line. That's number 1. Interesting and educational newsletters that people want to read. If you're teaching them something, if they're learning, they're getting something out of it, if they're solving problems, and they're interested and they like your writing style and they're entertained, you have a winner, and people will constantly keep opening them. Also, you have to take into account your email program and whether it already has what's called proven high delivery rates and low bounces. Not all email programs are created equal in their technical ability to deliver the email to everyone. Don't assume that everyone on your list will get your email, because some factors out there will keep, it depends on their kind of inbox they're using, whether it's Gmail or Yahoo. It depends on different kinds of internet download speeds and all this kind of stuff, and spam filters and all this stuff can mess with delivery rates, and also create what are called bounces, where people aren't getting your email for whatever reason. And some email programs are better than others, so just keep that in mind. But using a combination of all these 3 things, here is the open rate that I get. I want to show it to you, and this is a screenshot of one of my last newsletters. 47%. Now, we just went over to Netcraft and saw that consulting has an 18% open rate and a 2.87 or something click-through rate. I have a 47% open rate and a 28% click rate. By using the techniques that I just showed you, that's how many more people open my emails. Because of that, my numbers are higher in terms of my sales, because I'm getting more people in my community to actually read it, open it, click on the links, and engage. If you have an open rate of 18 and a click-through rate of 2, you're not making enough money based on the amount of people that are on your list that you spent time and money building that community. I'm still wondering where the other 53% are and what they're doing. I wish I had 100, but no one's going to do that. Why do the other 53% want to open my emails, Vicki? I have no idea, but I try, but 47, you got to admit, that's pretty damn good. That is a screenshot from GetResponse. And also, you got to remember, this is a screenshot from my reporting. And GetResponse and a good other email program that you use will give you detailed reports just like this. And if you don't get them, you're using the wrong program. Use those reports to analyze. You can send out certain emails, you can try certain subject lines, and you can even test the success. Those open rates will go up and down depending on the things that you do and new ideas that you come up with and how creative you are. So you want to make sure you measure them. And you want to make sure that your click-through rates are high. You don't want to worry about unsubscribes. If you worry about an unsubscribe, you're just going to not be able to sleep at night. Who cares if someone unsubscribes? In fact, the higher my open rate is, I'll have a bunch of unsubscribes because I'm weeding people out that were never going to buy anything anyway. If you go back and look at my graphic here, there was no unsubscribe on this particular newsletter. So everyone stayed intact. I did have bounce rate. You can't do, there's always going to be some bounces with people that have given you a bad address, or the bounce rate means that their inbox is full up to capacity or a few things like that. And that fluctuates. There's not a whole lot you can do with it, but some email programs can handle that better. And you don't want a bounce rate of like 20 because then you're wasting time too. So you also want to track all this stuff and write it down. Each newsletter should be measured, analyzed, and when you find a successful model, repeat it. Let me talk about autoresponders. Autoresponders, most people in my community know what they are because I've offered so many autoresponder training classes. But the thing is, some people still don't know what they are. So they are email messages that are automatically triggered when someone opts into one of these opt-in forms or even buys a product. There could just be one message that basically says, hey, thanks for signing up, or thank you for your purchase, or it can trigger off an entire series that could literally go on for months and months at a time. So when someone opts in, automatically, while you're sitting at the beach or whatever, they're getting marketing messages every couple of days, all automated. It's all set up ahead of time, and it's all sent out on your behalf. An effective email program can create unlimited autoresponder messages, and what they do is those messages drive readers back to your website, promotes products, educates them, invites them to special promotions, gives them discount coupons, anything you can to reach out and get that sale. These autoresponders, they can also be branded with those templates, just like I showed you earlier, so that all your autoresponders and all your marketing messages are actually a recreation of your website and your brand image with graphic-rich templates. A lot of email programs, the autoresponders can't accept templates, just the newsletters. So these are all completely created ahead of time. You schedule them when you want, and you can change these and tweak them for maximum marketing effect. Here is an example from Dr. Dorothy again, the client that I just showed you the template that I made. This is a peek inside of her autoresponder series. And you can see the autoresponders are set up like a calendar. So I had one go out on one day, then the next day, then I skipped a day, then I had one go out on day 4, day 5, then day 8, skip 3 days. There's no rhyme or reason here about the intervals that they go out. You can just kind of test it. You can be creative. You can just assume that people only want to read something like every 3 days and not every day or every week. You set what you want to do. And this is how easy, again, you can go in and look at all the different newsletters all in place here, literally going out for months at a time. So when someone opts in, they'll get number 1 and they'll get number 2, all automated. You don't have to do anything. These all have links to products, promotions, coupons, educational materials, everything. Autoresponders are absolutely fantastic. And in Get Response is where I made this. It has a visual layout here that's very easy and easy to make changes and to edit everything that you need to do. Now, big marketing secret number 6, I think we're up to, is automation rules. Now that sounds fancy. Oh my God, what is an automation rule? Very, very, very few people, except for the biggest names, use these. And I learned a lot of this stuff from Frank Kern and some people that make literally tens of millions of dollars a year. Part of their success comes from special tricks that the email program can actually do. So an effective email program can utilize very cool automated tricks that when people do certain things in your email, they trigger other things. And they don't know it's even happening. But you set it all up. Not every email program can do this. So use automation rules to stop one set of autoresponder series. Like somebody, let's say someone signs up and you're trying to sell them this system. Well, if they buy the system, click the link, buy the system, or buy something from you, you don't want to keep sending them autoresponders after they purchased, still saying, hey, buy this. They already bought it. Well, when they click the link, they're instantly assigned a brand new set of autoresponders that pitch something else that's complementary as an upsell. So all on automatic, everything is going and creating what's called a sales funnel just through email marketing, but you have to set up all these tools. There's another one that if someone who clicks on a link inside your newsletter can be added to one of those other lists. When I showed you the list segmentation, they can be added to a list, and that can be they can be moved into a special like a special place, like a special folder that has their own list, and you can go in and just send marketing messages just to people who have bought a certain product or did a certain conversion from a link in the newsletter. The big trick here is when I send out a promotion to somebody and a bunch of people buy it, then I move them off to their own list. And then I go back in and I send another promotion to the people who didn't buy. And the people who did buy don't get it. But I could offer, say, a 10% discount or anything anything I can to try to entice the people who didn't buy to buy. So I'm segmenting people on automatic by the choices and links and things that they do within the email itself, just because I set up automated cool tricks inside an email program. All this stuff is really cool, and it's really how all the big people do this stuff. And this was actually, I didn't do this for years. I just recently got into this kind of stuff and realized I had left thousands of dollars of sales on the table by not automating the things that happen inside my newsletter. Did you even know that you could do things like this? Most of us don't. So it's very cool. The other thing that you want to do is you want to be able to build your community by importing certain lists. You know, you can't wait around for people to opt in. What if you're not getting that much traffic? What if you actually meet more people at meetup groups or a speaking engagement or something like that? An effective email program, a good one, worth its salt, will let you seamlessly import databases from other sources other than just the opt-in form without a muss or fuss about it. You should be able to import lists from webinar registrations, such as GoToWebinar, which could be hundreds of people that someone else promoted for you. So take this for instance. Let's say Tom Antion or Jeff Herring or somebody like that promoted this particular webinar tonight to their list. And let's say I got 300 registrations from people that aren't on my list, but from theirs. I can take that registration from GoToWebinar and import it into GetResponse without them having to confirm or opt in. I can actually just import it right in and have everyone, without losing anyone, build my list. Now, I've just built my list 300 or 400 people in my community just from one webinar promotion because people signed up. What about all your business cards that you get? Think of all the stacks and stacks of business cards. Does your email program let you enter those people in manually or be able to import an Excel spreadsheet? What about your Gmail accounts? What about all the email programs that you use personally that you've built up this huge clientele that you've entered in? Can you import those into your email program? What about Facebook? Does your email program let you create an opt-in app on your Facebook business page so that people can opt in from Facebook rather than your website? And you can actually do different contests and registrations from Facebook where you can collect names and enter them automatically into your email program. Live event registration spreadsheets. I'll go speak somewhere and I'll ask the meeting planner to give me a registration of all the people that were in the audience. So I don't have to go around and collect all the business cards from them. And they'll usually give me an Excel spreadsheet or something. I'm able to seamlessly import that into my community without confirming them. Okay, so I don't lose anybody. Or can you just add people manually one at a time? All that is how you build a massive community. It's not all about the opt-ins on your websites. There's so much more to building a list because we all do these things. We have webinars, we speak live, we get business cards, we go to meetup groups. So that's what, and you don't want to miss those opportunities for list building. So really, again, if you haven't figured it out by now, your email list is gold. Now look, visitors buying something from your website, from a store, I'm here to tell you tonight that if they don't know you, the conversion rate on someone even buying even a $5 ebook from your store, especially if they don't know you, they just came across it from a search result or something like that, is about 1 in 1,000. And I'm being very conservative on that. I think that it's even more than that, to be honest with you, depending on how good your store is or how great your website converts and how great your sales letter is. But that's how low. Do you really want 1,000 people coming to your website and only one person buying something that may not be any more than $7 or $8? How are you possibly able to make money like that? Building the list is important. So if you don't capture those other 999 people's email addresses, you will never see them again. And just putting a form on there, there's more to it. I showed you all the elements, all the things that need to be on an opt-in form, freebies that are irresistible. Those are important aspects of building a community. Email marketing gives you the chance to build a following of people that really love you, not just a database or a list. Don't use those words anymore. Always think of a community think of the faces and individuals that need your help and how you can help them by selling them products or inviting them to training webinars like this. So it gives you an opportunity to market your brand, and obviously it makes real money. You have the power to affect a community that knows you and will fall in love with you. But obviously not all email programs are the same. As I mentioned before, the proper tools for internet marketing vary, and they vary huge. And I know that we've all tried different email programs and different shopping carts systems, and we've tried all these different services, and most of these services leave us very disillusioned. So I've showed you most of the examples tonight using GetResponse, and I want to explain really quick why I use GetResponse. And you want to ask yourself these questions about whether your email program does all the things that I showed you, and if it doesn't, do you need this to succeed? People I meet all the time and all the clients that I work with, everybody wants to know why I use it, GetResponse. And after 8 years working with Tom and all the mentees, and I tried them all, man. Okay, I've tried, out of all the ones I showed earlier, I think I've used all of them at one point. The only one I didn't really use was Infusionsoft. I never did use that. In fact, if you have Infusionsoft and it's working for you and you're making enough money to pay the $200 or $300 a month, then more power to you. You're good to go. You already know all this stuff and you don't need to be here. But most of us have been using email programs and other services that kind of leave us high and dry. So I started using GetResponse about 2 years ago, and I love it. And I found out that it has the highest delivery rates and the lowest bounce rates that we talked about. And what that does is it helps give me those kinds of open rates that I showed you, that 47%. I didn't get those with the other email programs, and it had a lot to do with the deliverability and how the tool works. It also has the easiest of those automated tools I talked about. Some of that stuff, setting up automation rules and those automated tricks, are kind of difficult, and some of them don't do it at all. But this one was very user-friendly. In fact, a little kid could even figure it out. But the most important part of why I use it, and this is extremely important, it lets me import any kind of list, even switching from one email program to GetResponse, or importing like a GoToWebinar registration list or an Excel spreadsheet, without those people having to re-opt in or confirm their email. If you try to import any list from any database or from any other email program into any other program, including Aweber or Vertical Response or Constant Contact or any of those other ones, they will not let you import that list in. They're going to send an email. Yes, Adela, there will be a replay. Thank you so much for that question. I'm having a Q&A here in just a minute, so hang on. If you try to import that list or move from one email program to another, they will make all those people, they will force everyone in that list to confirm an email, and you'll literally lose 50 to 75% of all those people because they won't really opt in again. GetResponse is the only service out there that lets you import a list from one email program to another without the confirmation, so you don't lose anyone. Your numbers stay intact. That is exactly why I chose it, because I wanted to get out of other programs that didn't have the tools and reporting and template structures that I liked, but I couldn't find anything to switch to without losing 70% of my list. That's 9,000 people. I don't want to lose 7,500 people. Do you? I'm starting all over again. And I don't want to not be able to import databases such as GoToWebinar registrations, teleclass, business cards, Excel spreadsheets, any of that stuff. I want to build my real community. GetResponse also connects with all the shopping carts, including PayPal, and also integrates with all social media through a series of apps. You can see here, it's got LinkedIn, Google Docs, and Plaxo. I don't even know what Plaxo even is, but if I ever need it, then GetResponse will work with it. PayPal. So if someone buys anything from PayPal, it automatically adds that person to my GetResponse community and sends out a series of autoresponders. I could do that with one shopping cart, any of this stuff. There's literally about 400 applications that GetResponse will integrate with without being some kind of, coding genius. It also has, look at this, easy to build opt-in forms. One shopping cart doesn't have any kind of opt-in templates. They only give you this little piece of code that you can't add graphics to. In GetResponse, they have 222 different customizable templates that you can change any of this stuff. They were Christmas ones. They were ones on everything in the world. And you can add videos into these and any kinds of graphic images, anything you want. It's absolutely fantastic. Can people still hear me out there? Because someone said they lost the audio. If you can still hear me, pop it in the chat box real quick before I move forward. Hello? Okay, great. Thank you so much. Now go to webinar. Now, if anyone's got any better suggestions about using GoToWebinar, I'd be really happy about it, because sometimes you just got to deal with what you got. I've been using this for so long, but it's got its issues. Case in point, not every program is perfect, but GetResponse I'm actually liking. GoToWebinar, I don't know. GetResponse moving forward, again, thank you for hanging in there. GetResponse also has pre-made newsletter templates. Now, I build mine from scratch, along with the share buttons and all that cool stuff. But if you can't build all that stuff, they have literally hundreds of these pre-made templates. And look at this stuff. I mean, there's like, I couldn't build that. I mean, I thought I built a really cool template for Dr. Dorothy, but these are like crazy. I mean, these are awesome. MailChimp has some pretty cool templates for newsletters too. Some programs have good things, and there's good things about all of them. Aweber, as a matter of fact, to be honest with you, Aweber is a great program. I really like that. You just can't import lists to it. But the templates and the opt-in forms are really, really strong, and they've got decent reporting too. So I'm a big Aweber fan, but obviously I have to have something where I can build my community the right way. GetResponse has other cool stuff, such as customized surveys, all the real email reporting that I showed you real time, so I can actually go in every once in a while and see the open rates opening. Not only that, I can see who opened the email. Do you know that I can see each and every one of you? Just like this is now, GetResponse is what Santa Claus uses, okay? When he builds that list that he checks twice, that list is built on GetResponse because he's got to keep track of everyone that he needs to keep track of. And I can do that same. I feel like Santa Claus. I can see who clicked on links. I can see who opened my emails. I can see who didn't open my emails. I can actually take the people who open my emails on a regular basis and get to know them better and jot their names down on a list and put them into a special list or email them personally for consulting or something, or special consulting deals. I can sort of finger them out, because someone who opens up every single newsletter is obviously a hot lead just waiting for you to reach out and sell them something really big. Bam. They also create landing pages on GetResponse. Also, it can store thousands of images, audio, and video files. I mean, literally thousands, just like YouTube, in a multimedia studio. Very, very cool that you can go and integrate into each of your newsletters. It also, and this is a big one that everyone's been complaining about, it has 24/7 chat support, and it even during business hours has a real phone number and someone actually answers. Now, if you are a big fan of one shopping cart, you realize that you can't call anybody, or you have to pay $29 a month for a support fee. If I'm already paying for something, I don't want to have to pay extra just to get help from somebody. Okay. Some of these other programs, I don't know about the support, but a lot of people have been very unhappy with it. Now, is it affordable? You're darn right. GetResponse is only $15 a month for up to 1,000 people. It's only $25 a month up to 2,500 people. And of course, it keeps going up. think it's $45 a month up to $7,000 or something like that. But this is a great place to start. It's a great place to import and start over and use the right tools. I will never switch to another email program again that I can think of. So thank you tonight for sitting through this. And I hope you learned some cool tricks and things about getting the open rates, about things you want to put in your newsletter. I shared with you a lot of information, and I want to make an offer for you. You don't have to, obviously don't have to get it, but I want to offer something to you that I think is really important that will really help build your business. Unlike most webinars where you just pitched a product that you don't know if it's going to work or not, this is a little bit different. If you want to take advantage of this tool of GetResponse, if you want to take your old program and move it or in your list, and you want to leave that and you want to import it over to GetResponse, this is a good time to do it. And you don't have to do it tonight. You can do this whenever. You can do it next month. I don't care. But I've got a link down here. It's the getresponse.com/index/video power 123. If you sign up for GetResponse or you want to try it out, there's a 30-day free trial. So you don't have to import your list. You can go in and mess around with it and see what you want to do with it. And then if you like it, I will give you a free setup consultation. If you use this link to sign up for GetResponse, you can go ahead and pay for it, or you can just take the 30-day free trial. But if you are thinking about switching, I want to help you switch to GetResponse. And that includes importing your list over. And also, we can do this by phone. We can do it by email. I'd love to talk to you if you want to do this. But I can get you to download your list from your old email program and successfully move it over into GetResponse. I'll even help you set up your first campaign, which is your first main list, to import all those people to, and you can segment as you want later through. And here's another offer, I'll even help you craft your opt-in. Remember, we talked about what an opt-in should be like, what kind of language, the money magnets or the prestige magnets, what kind of offer do you want? I will help you craft your own opt-in language and your own irresistible opt-in offer if you want to sign up whenever you do to GetResponse. And if you do that, sign up over there, I'll be alerted that you've signed up, but to doubly make sure that you get the free consultation with me to help you move forward with this, you can just write me at videopowerlive.com. Tell me you took me up on the offer. I'll go into my affiliate over there and check and see if you signed up, and then we'll schedule your first time to move forward with this, and you can kiss all those crappy email programs goodbye, and you can start using something that really works, that you can really build a community with, that you can get the kind of open rates that we've been talking about tonight. And you can build a nice, beautiful template, and you can build a nice opt-in form, and everything is just very easy to use, and you'll feel great about it. And that's the kind of thing that we're talking about tonight. So I want to go ahead and open up the Q&A, and you can see there's a picture of me and Vicki here, and we're sitting here on the couch under our blankies tonight because it's freezing cold in Virginia Beach. But there's a link down at the bottom. Jot that down. You can do it anytime. I don't expect you to leave the webinar right now and go do this. This isn't like for the next 40 minutes. I'm only going to take the next 20 people. You can sign up for this thing. I don't care if you do it in April. But if you're willing to make a move towards a better system and a tool that I think works better than any other tool, this is one way that you can be rest assured that you're using a tool that helps grow your internet marketing business. Now, we didn't talk about shopping carts, and we didn't talk about webinar services or any of that stuff. We could, but tonight I wanted to focus on email marketing, and I wanted to show you how I build my community and the kind of stats and rates that I get, that I showed you that I get. And it has everything to do with using a program that's not only easy to use, but just something that is reliable and less frustrating than all the other stuff that I've used. So I'm just being honest with you here. So taking time, I want to thank you for being here again tonight. And Vicki and I both want to thank you for taking the time to watch this webinar, because I just believe that if you're here, you're serious about your business, and you're serious about helping people, helping change the world, helping monetize your message, and building your community is how you can do that. It can make the difference between you and your competition reaching out and doing and them taking all your business. I mean, you want to use tools that are most effective because other people are using inferior tools and you don't want to be one of them. So email marketing builds your brand. It makes real money. How cool is that? I'm going to take some questions here. So pop them in. You can even email me I'll be sending out the replay tomorrow, and you can always reply to the newsletter I send out with the email, with the recording. If you have a question, simply reply to it and say, hey, Colin, man, I didn't think about this last night, but I want to ask you this question about it. Or I'm scared about this, blah, blah, blah. I don't care what the question is, but I will answer all questions. So let me see. Frank says, what are you feeling with MailChimp as opposed to GetResponse? My shopping cart only integrates with MailChimp. Would it be hard to integrate with GetResponse? I guarantee you that your shopping cart probably integrates with GetResponse. It really depends on what cart that is. And you don't have to tell me, Frank. You can do it in a private message. But MailChimp is fine. In fact, I like it, but you can't import any list. If you list build through the Optin Form, which in MailChimp the Optin Forms aren't as powerful as the ones in GetResponse. So you can't build really, really nice Optin Forms. Then you're stuck on just opting in, Frank. So you can't really import any list or registrations. MailChimp is really bad about that. MailChimp is affordable up to the 2,500 people limit, and then it starts to become really expensive after that, and it became almost cost prohibitive. So, I mean, look at how much it costs after you really start to grow your business. 2,500 people, I've imported that kind of list from a series of webinar trainings that I had over like a 4 or 5 month period of time. You can build a list of 3,000 people in less than 6 months if you really boost your marketing. Not because of GetResponse, but because you're out there doing webinars. But if you can't take the registrations and enter them into the list, into your email program, then you can't email to those people. So you're not building a list that way. And MailChimp has problems. The best thing about MailChimp was that the newsletter templates are really cool. There's like 100 of them, and they're really beautiful and very easy to work with. And the newsletters look beautiful, and that I liked. But as your business grew, I think it was great for beginners. But if you want to become a professional, then you want to move to something more professional. And there isn't a shopping cart in the world that I can think of, and I've been doing this a long time, that only works with MailChimp. I think you might have to look into that further, but I'd love to help you with that. Frank also asked, can you customize an opt-in to be thin and horizontal across the top or bottom of the site? Not in GetResponse. You can't make a horizontal one, but you can create the code that matches matches a certain plugin that your web designer can use. If everyone saw my Dr. Dorothy site, let me go to that really quick. Let's see if I can show this to you. Okay. The audio might break up a little bit as I'm going online, but I want to show you this site. We'll just give it a minute. Hang in there. Whenever you use GoToWebinar, it slows things down a little bit. It's thinking. Just give me a minute here. I see questions popping in. I'll definitely get to them here in just a second. Okay. This is a site that I did for my client. And it has a horizontal right there. You can see that big green thing is a horizontal opt-in that I created. That is not created in GetResponse, but it's using the GetResponse code. So if you have a web designer that knows how to use a plugin, and I can't remember the name of the plugin for this, but it's right on the tip of my tongue, but it's not hard for most web designers to create a horizontal opt-in like this, which is really cool. This is called this particular theme is called a responsive theme, and it's all the new rage and all the new design. And this is Get Response that Dr. Dorothy uses. All right, Donna, thank you for being here tonight. Okay, let me get rid of this real quick. There we go. A couple other questions. Sophie says, I use Constant Contact, and I can upload lists from LinkedIn, no problem. That's interesting. That's cool. With Constant Contact, you can upload a list. I mean, you can build a list from social media, but I wasn't aware that you could upload a list from, say, an Excel spreadsheet without people having to confirm in. So last time I checked, that wasn't the case. So I'll definitely look into that. But thank you for that question. Richard said, hi, Colin, I use Wix, and it doesn't integrate with GetResponse. How do you suggest I proceed? Should I use a different URL? Actually, Richard, I think we were talking about getting you over to WordPress anyway, but Wix, if it accepts a code, like any kind of code, then you can use GetResponse. GetResponse, all the opt-in is just a code that you copy and paste into any website, whether it's WordPress, HTML, and I thought if you can't import a code into Wix, I know you can do that. So it's not an integration. It's all GetResponse opt-in form is just a copy and paste code that makes the opt-in appear. So I'll have to check that out for you, but we can talk about that on your call that we have next week with you. Richard says, I don't want to spend time and money to convert to WordPress right now. Now, I really think that if Wix can take a regular Java code snippet or even a HTML code, then you can use any email program for that. So I'm not sure what you're using, but don't use the Wix email program because it stinks. So there's no integration. So between website and email, all an opt-in form is just a piece of HTML code that you paste on a page and it magically appears. That's the only integration that's going on. So try not to get confused about that. Frank also says, I was on a webinar of yours where you offered a site analysis, which is very valuable to me. Yeah, and next week, I'll be doing that again on the 15th. So next Thursday night, you want to come for my website critique, and I'll be offering the website critiques again. So you can take me up on that. Any of you here tonight, I'd appreciate that. Richard says, F and V is very suggestive on Dr. Dorothy's site. Dare I ask if that was done on person? F and V. Was that must have been the logo. Everything on Dr. Dorothy's site was completely intentional. And there's a lot of things on there that are completely stealthy and suggestive. So if you like Dr. Dorothy's site and how I designed that, or her newsletter template or anything like that, write me over at videopower@live.com and talk to me about that. Sophie says, to build a horizontal opt-in or other small code stuff, I suggest Fiverr. Absolutely right. There's some dude over on Fiverr that I talked to that I gave him the code from GetResponse, and he put it onto WordPress with that horizontal thing for $5. And on Dr. Dorothy's site, her own web designer, her cousin, was the web designer, and he's the one that built that. And there's just a plugin. And you're right, Sophie, I can't do it. I can't make a horizontal opt-in. I got to go to Fiverr, and there's plenty of good people over there for $5. Wow, that was the best $5 I ever spent. Richard says Facebook, LinkedIn, Vimeo. Yeah, all the stuff, those little opt-in or those little join me buttons and things like that on Dr. Dorothy, everything was done with intention. So there's a lot of very subtle things going on over there, including all the colors, and we spent time branding and picking out the purples and the whites and the grays. So it was a really cool site to work on. It was very exciting, and I think everyone would get something out of that. So get your questions in. I don't want to keep everybody too long, but remember, I would love for you to use GetResponse, and you don't have to. But I showed you some reasons why that you might want to do it. Being transparent here, obviously this is my affiliate link, and GetResponse is going to pay me a couple bucks a month to if you sign up. It's just an affiliate link. So think about this while we're here. You can sign up for GetResponse and get the affiliate link without even being a customer. So you can actually sell GetResponse yourself to your friends and make a couple bucks. This isn't very big money. This isn't like Tom's shopping cart where he makes $30 a month every month. This is just a couple dollars. But over time, all this stuff adds up. And if I keep recommending this, the reason why I like to recommend tools that I work with is because it's very frustrating to have to work with email programs that don't work very well. And I see clients that hire me maybe just for a month or two, and I'm not able to help them create templates and things that I think that, or opt-in forms that I think might be good for them because their email program stinks. And I say, well, there's only so much I can do, and I don't even want to have to learn this thing. So I can offer you what you can do, but you're going to have to go hire somebody else to go do this. I'm able to help people implement the right strategies, and the right tools give you the freedom to implement the right strategies. So if I come up with a strategy for any one of you and I say, well, you should create a branded template or your opt-in should have a video in it. Well, and then we go find out that your email program can't do that. Well, how are you supposed to implement one of my strategies that you're paying to hear? And so it gets a little frustrating sometimes to try to work around inferior services. And I don't want to use them myself, but it's also hard. I don't want to see you use them either, because this isn't really how you grow your business. I learned a long time ago that from Tom, when I learned all this stuff from him, that the proper tools was more important than the strategies. And a lot of people don't do that. They usually go for the cheap stuff first, and they go, oh, well, I don't want to invest too much, so I'll just get something right, for the moment, and then I'll switch later. And then they find out you can't switch because you can't import your list, for instance. So you just lost all these people. Or you're wasting time not doing things right from the very beginning, and that's not helping you build your community. Building your community is everything with this business. It really is. I'm not going to fluff you by telling you that, yeah, you can make this big training system for $900 and put it on your website and write this really cool sales letter, and everyone's going to be so flipped out, they're just going to whip out their wallets. That's bullshit. Okay, this is a lot harder than you've been led to believe. And email marketing is the easiest and most powerful way to really sell products. And you need to understand that. And because of that, you also need the right tools. So a couple more questions. Sophie says, what platform are you using for this webinar? This is GoToWebinar. And it's very, very expensive, but it actually works better than most. I tried a couple Google Hangouts and Zoom, and I've been really having issues with that. I tried Zoom today, really liked it because we were talking about it in my group coaching last night. So I went on, and from my client's end, it was just like breaking up. So I don't know if it was her internet and everything, but I've never really had a problem with GoToWebinar. I do sometimes, but not often. The lost audio, I don't think it was really lost. Just some people get booted out. So this is GoToWebinar. There's a couple other platforms. It's really the best one. Richard says, what is Dr. Dorothy's URL? I can't find it. It's Ask Dr. Dorothy. AskDrDorothy. Ask Dr. Dorothy. Doctor's just dr.com. And you can check that anytime. Adela says, this is great information. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. Richard says, I found it. Great. Thank you. Laura says, hi, Laura. How long do we have to sign up for GetResponse and get your help to set it up? As long as you want. It doesn't matter. You don't have to do it tonight or anything like that. You can, if you want to wait till June, just email me. You have to email me or I won't know that you did it. They'll pay me for it, but I won't know that you did it. So whenever you're ready, you just email me and say, hey, Colin, I signed up for GetResponse. I was on the webinar, and I want you to help me set it up. And I will say, okay, let's pick a time to get together and we'll sit. And what I'll do is I'll look at what you're using now. We'll make sure that you save or download your list or your contact list before you cancel your old email program. And then we'll import it over to GetResponse. And here's my deal. If for whatever reason you don't like GetResponse, let's say you buy it and you think, and you try it for a couple of days and you think this stinks, or your list, for whatever reason, and then I haven't seen it happen yet, but for whatever reason does not get like imported properly, then call GetResponse and they'll credit all your money back. And if you were out $5 or something, for the few days, I'll give it back to you. Okay. Personally through PayPal. So this is a no risk thing. And of course you can always do the 30-day deal, but with 30 days, you can only import a list of 100 people. So, with the 30-day free trial. So it's not a full version. It is a full version of actually working with all the programs, sending out newsletters, but you can't import a big list. So if you want to import a list of over 100 people, up to whatever, 8,000, whatever you got on hand, however lucky you've been to build a list that big, we can work on importing it in. I can help you do that. I'll also give you your free consultation about your opt-in. We'll look at your opt-in. We'll make the coolest, most irresistible language so you really start building your opt-in like you should be. So great. I appreciate that. Laura also says, we do not even have a list yet. Okay. And are in the process of having our website redone. Well, that's the perfect time. So if you do want to sign up, Laura, I would, since you don't have a list to import, I will jump over and actually help you create an opt-in form for your brand new site. We can go in together. We can pick out some colors. You can tell me what you want to give away and what kind of information and stuff that you think is important. And, I'll craft it for you and help you go in there. I can go in remotely from my computer and log into anyone's GetResponse, any client, and go in and work on it as if I was you and help build little opt-in forms. And I can show you where to put them on the site and all that good stuff. So I'd love to work with you if you want to do that. Sophie says, did you try on 24? I'm not sure what that is. So no, I haven't. I'm not really sure what that is. I don't know if you're probably still talking about webinar software. There's so much stuff out there. I've been using GoToWebinar for so long. I'm so ingrained with I'm just an old fart that can't really make any big changes. So I'm not huge on moving forward. Of course, I'm going to have to change. I'm going to have to bite the bullet and do something with a webcam, like a Google Hangout, so everybody can see my beautiful face. I'm sure everyone by now has probably really enjoyed the webinar and realized that I'm cute and funny, and I really should be talking to you live. You can see how cute I am in this photo. Well, that's real life, and that's me. Richard says almost every internet marketer uses GoToWebinar. That's because it works and it's easy and we're lazy and, we don't want to learn anything new. If you're making money from it, which we do, then you don't want to make any big changes. Frank also says, already checked if GetResponse integrates with my shopping cart because I wanted it before I went with MailChimp. I was told that I would need someone to create an API to integration. Okay, I understand that. Yeah, in some circumstances, you're going to have, someone has to create an API. All that is a connection code between the GetResponse language and the language of your cart. And it's generally cart based. So not every shopping cart, if you're using something like Zen Cart or something like that, yeah, someone has to create an API. Frank, what I'll do is I'll send out a newsletter to the webinar registration people here tonight. And I'll make sure there are people on Fiverr that can write API. It's actually quite simple. I can't do it, but it's only $5 or $10 for somebody to do that. So before you do anything, obviously let me answer that for you, or you can write me back, frank@videopoweredlab.com, and see if I've come up with a solution or how much an API costs. I've heard it's very simple. I've had APIs written for other things with PayPal. I use PayPal as my shopping cart, and it integrates with GetResponse just fine, but doesn't integrate with a couple of other things that I had to get an API written for. So we don't want to get too crazy into the coding and scare everybody to death, but there's some instances where someone needs to help you connect two things together, but it's not impossible. So I appreciate that. So if you have any more questions, pop them in. We're going to get going here. I don't want to keep everybody too long. It's already been almost an hour and a half. I really appreciate everyone being here tonight. Hope you got something out of it. I appreciate if you did. And if you learned something about newsletters or opt-ins or something like that, just say heck yes and put it in the chat box and let me know that I wasn't just talking to myself all night or thinking that I was the only one that thought this was any good. Yeah, here comes all the yeses. Yeah, they're piling in, almost crashing the system here. Thank you. Frank says, I'll be in contact with you tomorrow. Thanks. Great information. Sophie says, I love your webinars. Well, I love you being here. Richard says, yeah, I just saw it has an A/B testing too. There's so much I didn't even get into on Get Response. It would have been hours. I wish I could have gone in and showed everybody what I do and all the cool stuff. It's like ridiculous. And Jim Barger says, thank you. Thank everybody for being here tonight. So if you don't have any more questions, we'll get out of here. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and cut out of here because my voice is starting to go. And I'll send the recording out and the slides. So, of course, you have all the information you can look through and use it as a template to help refine your email marketing. Remember, you don't have to sign up for this. Use the tips with whatever email program that you love. If you love something and it's working for you and you're making money, then definitely do not switch. But if you think you could improve things based on the things that I showed you, then give it a try. That's all I'm asking. And then if you feel like you want to do that, I'm here to help you. So you're not on your own. We'll see everybody, hopefully, come out next week on the 15th. I'll be doing the website critiques. I'm going to show everyone all the cool stuff about what your website should look like and how it should function. And I've advanced that class like to the moon and back. So you definitely don't want to miss all the new stuff that I've found out over the whole winter break, where all I've been doing is my group coaching. So I'm back into the big weekly training webinars. So you guys check that out on the 15th, and I'll see everybody over at the Dream Alliance. Remember the Dream Alliance? Check that out. That's my group coaching. I'll send the link out to that as well if you're interested in checking out ongoing training such as this, but even deeper and more interesting and far-reaching, and every single week. That's something you might want to consider. So I appreciate everybody being here tonight. And Vicki and I will talk to you next week.